Good afternoon. Hope you're having a lovely lunch. This talk won't be quite so technical as yesterday's. It's more of a kind of a journey through time of 20 years of playing V-Test and 10 years of tournaments, many with guys in this room. So first off, we start with a little bit about me. So my name is Hugh. I'm British. I've been playing since 1994, and I paid to have myself a piece of artwork because I had nothing better to spend money on at the time. I got printed in the last set, and I'm one of the most useless vampires in the game. I come with stealth, that's about it. Please use me. If you do, I'll give you a signed copy of the card. I have plenty spare. Alright, so as I said, I've been playing over 20 years, and that's not really the interesting bit. The last 10 years is kind of the interesting bit where I've had a bit more money, finished school, finished university, a bit of cash, did some travelling. So the red areas are areas across the world that I've been and won a tournament at. So the States is quite easy, you guys should go there. Iceland, they don't really know what they're doing either. And these UK guys, well, yeah. The blue areas, they're a little bit harder to win at. I'll talk about the Helsinki one a little bit later. Well, that wasn't so good. I'm not so good in Helsinki. The potents, not really with me. And one day, I hope to get one of these to be red. I have a draft win in Germany. I am technically European draft champion because we've not had another European draft event for like 3 years. So I'm hoping that no one ever has one, so I'll die that. But as you can see, basically Europe and North America haven't really managed to get anyone else quite yet. A bit too expensive. So, during these 10 years of tournaments, I've managed to win 42 tournaments that have gone in the TWDA. So that's Jeff Thompson's kind of record-keeping thing, which he's been doing since 1998. I've met hundreds of players, and I've been lucky enough to make a lot of good friends. So this is from 2006 in Atlanta, and I've titled this the picture of the good, if you like. So we've got Oscar, who basically looked after us during the days. We've got Ben down at the front, looking quite angry, quite Ben-like, in fact. Hugh, our new boss there, a lot of very friendly Americans. We've got John Fulmer at the back, Matt Hirsch, a NAT winner, Matt Morgan, another NAT winner, Jay Christoph at the back, really tall, Alex here, and John, whose surname I now forget in the middle. It's awkward. But just lots of nice, friendly people, and that's why I've kept going back to the States. Met people, want to play with them again. So that's the good. This is the bad. So team Ralph Tukanki in Robocon 2008. It was not one of my best tournaments. I scored 0, and then 0, and then 0. And there was a lot of potents, except it came with stealth votes. And then we have the ugly. So this is in 2010 in New Orleans. So here we have Oscar, looking so friendly. Here we have some strange guy in the States called Peter Pan. And at the back we have the ugly, Pascal. Looking much more attractive now. I don't know who this guy was, but apparently he was famous, so we had to stop and take the photo. So, in the 20 years I've played, things have changed quite a lot. So, my first game of V-Test was like a 9-man game. Sounds good. 120 card libraries. Maybe crits, which were from 3 or 4 starters, shoveled together. It was pretty good. So 90 plus libraries, random starter decks. The first few games we played, because a lot of us were ex-Magic players, some of them used 4 card limits, because that really helps the game. The first tournament rules had 6 card limits for a set of restricted cards. So cards like Current Resources Contested, you can only play 6 cards of that. You can only play 6 Majesties, 6 Earth Mounts. Why? I don't know. Time limits didn't really exist back then, and you could definitely play 2 to 13 players quite easily. 13 was really popular because then you have one player playing each clan. Isn't that, yeah? Why don't we do that today? I'm going to be really good. Yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing back then, but it's okay because no one else did either. Now, things have changed a little bit since then. So, a lot of people still play with 90 cards, but a lot of people play with less than 90 cards. Quite a few people play with less than 80 cards, and a few people are really brave and play with ultra slim 60 card decks. It really helps. Decks are kind of dedicated, so rather than just being, oh, I've got these 3 starters, let's put them together and see what happens, it's more, I want to bleed at stealth successfully. So that's a key part of the game, doing successful action. No card limits. They probably don't add any value. Has anyone in the room played card limit Jihad or Vitesse? Did you enjoy your card limit Jihad or Vitesse?
Yes.
No. Oh. Yes. Well, I've tried card limit Vitesse on a number of occasions. I find the best way to do it is 4 governs, 4 conditionings, 4 scoutings, 4 foreshadowings. It works quite well. Very strict time limit. So, you know, there's a point of the game. You're playing a game, so it wants to be fun, but there is an aim, which is for someone to win. And you can't do that if you're playing for 5 hours, because you'll get bored and fall asleep. It's a 4 or 5 player game now, none of this 13 players. There is a 2-man Vitesse option, which the Danes were playing in Copenhagen this year is like a pickup between games. Kind of like Duff and Draft, but you pick a deck, top dog seems to do quite well, and you just try and work out who wins. Recommend you try it out. Certainly better than 13 players. Okay, and as the game has changed over these years, we've also had a few official guides printed, which we've been very, very lucky to have. So this first one on the left is the Jihad Player's Guide. Now, if you're lucky enough to see one of these on eBay, don't buy it. Now, there's so many good quotes in the Player's Guide, I can only really come up with one to show you, which is that almost no one plays this game just to win. Yeah, I mean, okay. Now, this book on the right is released, I think, a year later, so this is 1994, this is 1995-ish. And it talks about the 6 most common decks, which are the kitchen sink, the combat, the bleed, the political, the weenie, and the theme. Now, that sounds a bit silly, but looking at that objectively, that kind of is what we have now. We have combat decks, we have bleed decks, we have political decks, we have weenie decks, which are generally going to be bleed or political, or maybe combat. And we have theme decks for the guy who really, really wants to get all 7 in a circle out, or card impersonation of any kind. And the kitchen sink, which is probably my favourite, the toolbox. I think the original kitchen sink they were really talking about starter deck, another starter deck, woo! But I think there's something that can do a bit of everything. Now, quotes from this one, they're also quite good. So this book has a relationship between some of the vampires. So Basilia and Democritus are having a bit of a thing. And you can use that in your games if you wish. But the important quote here, I think, is that bleed decks need more cards as you need to include stealth. Now, I don't play a lot of pure bleed decks, but my understanding is that they need less cards because they have stealth. Any objections to that? It seems like a very reasonable statement to me. It gets even better now. So on the left here, we have a small magazine produced in the UK. I think there were 3 or 4 issues. It was called Tomb. As you can guess, it was about the undead. An independent British publication for vampire lovers. Now, it wasn't very good. I know this is going to shock you. But just to show you how things have changed, in 1996, the most valuable card in this, because you could buy and sell cards to this guy, was Ivory Bow. Still a useful card, not really the most valuable so much. The interesting thing about this is, anyone ever bought Dan Murdoch's or Mariana Gilbert's on eBay? No? Yeah. That's this guy. So this guy had Wizards of the Coast supply when they ditched Vampire. So if you're buying them from him.
So I can see Watercore has those.
Yeah, he has all the European ones.
Alright.
And those ones are locked away in the basement, yeah?
They might be flooded out, I'm not sure.
On the right here, we have a kind of 2005 guide written by, I guess the big difference here, this is actually written by players who know how to play the game. The previous three, no. What I like about this, it's interesting to read, it has pretty pictures in of all the cards, which is quite helpful, but it has decks from across the world by lots of different players, so not just by the people who wrote the book. So, Ben, Mike, Carl, lots of famous players that wrote the book, but there's lots of other decks in there to have a look at. And some of the decks still work, most of them will need a bit of changing, but it's just a nice idea to see what was played, what worked, particularly back in the early 2000s. You can still find this book online, and there was a PDF expansion for it which had Kindred Most Wanted in as well, but there's not a lot to talk about Kindred Most Wanted. Okay, so just having a little bit of deck construction through the ages. I only did one graph, I'm sorry, and it's not a very good graph, but I'm an accountant, so I had to do a graph. So all of this information is from Jeff Thompson's TWDA archive. So in 1997, there were 4 tournament-winning decks in the archive. 4! Now, on average, they had 13 guys in the crypt and 86.3 cards in the library. Doesn't sound that exciting. 1998, on average, 86.3 cards in the library again, and 12.6 cards in the crypt. Only 15 decks in 1998. Still, VTES was still at its infancy at the tournament level. 2013, I didn't do the entire year because I got bored, but I did 38 decks. And crypt-wise, about 12.1, so most people are using 12 cards in the crypt. It gives you what you want, it's the minimum you can play, why would you play more? The library, 82.4. So it doesn't sound like a big reduction, so you've reduced 4 cards. So that sounds okay, it's reduced a bit. But then if you go and break down that data, here we've got mainly 90 card decks, and the odd computer hack deck, which is like 60, 70 cards. Here we have a load of 90 card decks still, from around the world, and we have lots of decks of 60, 70 cards, particularly in Sweden. So if you look at TWDs from Sweden, they're much smaller than the rest of the world, which is quite interesting. Wow, your computer really killed my graph. So, deck optimization. How did you do this yesterday? It doesn't like my ears. They don't stick out enough, like my print does. Right, okay, so I don't get to play a lot anymore, so I have less time, I have fewer players. What do I do to try and make sure I'm current? So, the first thing I do, Ages of Clans, to try and win a tournament with every clan in the game. And I do this because it keeps my interest going, it keeps me designing decks, otherwise I'd just use the same Stanislava or the same AAA. Other players I've seen do other kind of theme goals, so they find something that interests them, and they play it because it looks fun. Keeps them playing. Modular decks. So I like to cheat with my decks. So if you build one deck that uses Animas in combat, you can build another deck that uses Animas in combat. And lo and behold, you've got the same 20 cards flowing between the decks. Makes it very easy to play, you already know what's happening. The third one I obviously never do, which is stealing someone else's deck if it's really good and has won tournaments. And no one, I'm sure, does that in this room. Why would we? But very helpful. Finally, playing online. So I try a bit of that. I find it quite difficult. Playing in person, much better because you can see what's happening. It's a very emotional, socially interactive game. But it gives you the opportunity. So here I just want to talk a little bit more about kind of modular decks. So on the left-hand side, I have my Animas module. It's very straightforward. It probably looks very familiar because it's probably in lots of people's decks in more or less these ratios. So 11 deep songs, okay, straightforward. 12, 13, 8 for bats, a couple of K9 hordes, 9 or 10 carrying crows, a few tastes. You can take that module, you can put it in a Guru deck, you can put it in a Ravenous deck, put it in an Akinanti deck. So that's all I did. Didn't have much time to play in 2010. My local playgroup disappeared, but I was still attending tournaments. So the easiest way was to take the same tournament deck, throw out the crypt, put in a new crypt, job's done. Very simple way of getting a deck that you don't have to test, that you can play in a reasonably serious tournament. Probably help that you're looking at 20-player tournaments, so not too stressful anyway. On the right, very similar story, the master module, which I guess we blame the Swedes for, really, mainly. So the Asher tablets, the Villains, the Zilla's Valleys, some Dreams, Giant's Blood, some other stuff. So this is the Animas module, so it's got some Havens in as well. And you've got some kind of a Barley, Cybele, and that went onto a Nosferatu, i.e. Cybele with 5 Nosferatu in the deck. Try not to draw the Nosferatu. And a Toreador, i.e. Anson. Very similar deck. All three, I mean, these two are doing Animas, and this one's doing Celebrity Guns, but the deck is basically the same. It has the same principle, it has a comparable crypt. Cybele is obviously very useful, and the Nosferatu aren't very useful, but, when you want to try and win with all the clans, you have to put Nosferatu in. Okay, and why do I want to use the A to Z of clans? Well, this map. So this is Matt Morgan. So he's North American champion 2011. So the last American to win the North American Championships before the Danes took control. And he and Ben Peel as well. They had this chat. I think it involved some alcohol. And it was like, oh, it's so easy to win. We need something challenging. We could always play the same deck and always win. I think we were mainly telling Ben off at the time because he was playing some kind of Winnie Dementation or slightly larger Dementation, followed by Winnie Dementation. And we were like, you need to do something else, Ben. You need to challenge like us. And yeah, so we had this challenge, A to Z, that's 39 clans altogether. I have 10 left, so I have Abomination, Rob Brothers, Daughters of Cacophony, Followers of Set, Giovanni, Imbued, Ishtari, Nosferatu, Tribute, Sandy, and True Brudia. So as you can see, I'm pretty screwed.
Giovanni could win.
Yeah, I have Giovanni and Followers of Set left, and some very bad stuff. I'm kind of hoping that Pascal bans Imbued, so I can just cross one off. That would really help. But Blood Brothers is going to be the real issue. Not happening? Go on.
Humans are not playing.
Maybe ban True Brudia as well, because they're hard for them. Blood Brothers, real challenge.
Fans of Imbued as well.
Shush now. Not playing. This is Matt Morgan in 2008, trying to win with Blood Brothers. So this is Montreal. And as you can see, he looks happy at this stage. This was his first attempt with Blood Brothers. He's had a few more since then. He was trying to do the A to Z, starting at A and moving his way through. He skipped Blood Brothers and gone back to them, so it's not quite so bad. He's done Abomination as well because he cheated. But,
does it count if I design new Blood Brothers cards and then win with them?
yeah.
Yeah, because everyone else can do it too.
Yeah, but we'll have a head start, so we know what's coming, and we've built the Uber deck with Blood Brothers. So, just to end on a happier picture of Team Sweden from the Rautakanki, this is my favourite bit of Team Sweden. Finland? Did I say Sweden?
Yeah. Same thing.
My favourite bit of Team Finland. The most delicious thing in the world. And this is a happy picture of all the Finns, merry, drinking, black, licorice, and killing themselves. And for some reason Martin Randers is at the back. He's obviously got confused. So that's kind of like a jovial look at probably 10 years worth of Vitas playing. I mean, as you can see, things have really changed from really bad decks to slightly better decks. And there's still a lot of improvement that we can make as a community. And the more we play, the more we can, work on each other and see what works well and what's fun to play at the same time as being successful. Any questions? No questions. Excellent. Oh.
What's your view of the future?
My view of the future? Well, I'm hoping there'll be new Blood Brothers cards. So my view of the future is that we still keep gathering in large groups like this to play for the EC, and you still see deck innovation turning up at the EC in big events. So it's fairly positive. I mean, I went to the NAP this year. There was a few less people, but there's still lots of new decks, or slightly new decks, new ways of doing things that you haven't seen before. I'm hoping that when we do the PDF sets release, we'll see new stuff again. And that's the point of continuing to design cards, is to keep innovation going. And we've got 3,500 cards to play with. That's a lot of innovation. I know that some of them, like Torture Confession, are used a lot more than others. But I still think there's a lot more we can do. I mean, I've not even looked at some of those 10 clans I have left because they look so painful. But I'm sure that someone's got a really good Sandy deck that I can borrow and win with. That's the plan. I hope that answered your question.
I'll put one with me.
Anyone else? No more questions? Wow, I mean, oh, okay. Also,
Do you have some other tips how to keep the game interesting for yourself?
yes, I have a couple of tips. So the first one is alcohol.
Yeah.
So the second one really is travelling. So I like to travel, see new places. So I get to go do a bit of sightseeing. But the main thing is I get to meet a lot of people. So you can suck basically all the information from them, because all our playgroups are in isolation. We have the internet, but you're in isolation otherwise. So the more you travel, the more you meet people, the more you play, and you come across hilarious situations. If you play with the same 5 players again and again and again, it can get a bit dry. New players, just for a couple of days, really adds a lot of energy. I feel much more energized coming back from the North American Championships and coming back from the EC than going. Because I've met a load of new people, I've seen a load of new decks being played. That's fun, that's interesting.
I got one for you. You can try winning with Blood Brothers in Finland. That could work.
Yeah, you guys don't use enough potents anymore. I was tricked. The t-shirt, that's a lie.
I lost mine.
It was taken from you.
Oh,
What's the latest innovation that really got you going again?
it was seeing the Nagaraja win by John Bell like a month before I won with Nagaraja. That really pissed me off. That made me think that some of these clans are really need to do quickly, like Trujar. So I think there's a couple of Trujar wins, but I need to get there before Matt Morgan gets there or something like that. I think the Anyu, the Nagaraja who can increase bleeds to arc and investigate, I quite like stuff like that because it's funny. It's not necessarily going to win you the game, but then you burn somebody, you demonically possess them. It's funny. The reason that I really used to enjoy playing the game was to burn other people's vampires in some way. And then PTO got banned, and I was like, what? Apparently you can burn vampires in other ways, but...
Since you've been traveling around a lot, is there a local Vitus culture that differs from different places?
Yeah,
and
very much.
Could you pick
So,
something?
if we skip back to the map. So, this shiny bit up here, this is the really drunk Vitus culture. Okay? So I went in the summer, so it was like a 3 o'clock barbecue. They are very relaxed, very friendly about how they play. They're not too serious, because they don't play a lot. These guys over here, this kind of blue area, this is kind of a bit more heading towards Stockholm, I guess. A lot of dominate, very fast decks, generally, not all of them. Fairly small decks, very quick play. So they want to play really quickly. And they interact around the table. More of the players there as a percentage probably look and understand the balance of the table. Now, this area over here, there's a lot of good players in the States. But when you go to a tournament, you can generally, each table you're on, you can play your own game. So most of the players will play their own game. So you can play decks that wouldn't necessarily work so well over here. So when a certain guy called Randy took a lot of abusive decks a couple of years ago, he abused them quite severely. So if you're playing something like Nana or Sobel or anything that's really quick and really abusive, they can shut it down and they will talk occasionally, but if they don't talk quickly enough, he just runs away with the table. Whereas over here, they're going to see that hit the table really quickly and they're going to know what they need to do instinctively. So it's about how the groups play together, I think.
So it was like when smallpox was introduced to the U.S.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
No, repeat what they said because we didn't hear.
The original question was how does the culture of Vitas playing vary across the world? So, probably the most serious group I've come across, I would just repeat, is probably Sweden. So very dedicated, they want to win. It's fair enough. I mean, the French guys, they want to win as well. I mean, these guys like to talk more. These guys talk, but only to say, I'm going to kill you now. Which isn't really something I appreciate so much. I mean, I'd say the area you're going to get the least talking is probably Norway. So I've only been twice. They don't want to deal. They don't want to talk about anything. Cross-table rescues, anything like that, out the window. Which is kind of a shame, because the game is interactive 4 or 5 player game, so a bit of talking is necessary, really. Anything else? Randy.
If you ever go to, for example, Australia or Asia,
Places down and right on the map.
yes.
Yeah.
What would you think to bring? What would you think to bring to have a good time and to?
So looking at the Asian decks, pretty much anything, because they're a small group of players, all, you've got like maybe 4 or 5 play groups living in different areas, so they don't play a lot. So the decks I've seen that they've played are kind of net decks with a few changes, so they're probably comfortable with most things, but you can probably abuse them. The Australians, I mean, the Australians invented some of the really abusive stuff, like Ants and Anna Revolt is partly Australian, so Dominic invented that back in the day. We sent a spy to Australia called Simon Reed, so he's a new Kiwi, he lives in New Zealand, but he goes across to Australia and he keeps us abreast of what they're doing. And yeah, it seems to be basically stealth bleed.
I played in Australia.
You didn't tell me that, Mike. Did you? It was a couple of beers ago.
Yes.
But I think I mean I always take Cool Box decks as like an introductory wherever I am because they perform well. So if I'm going somewhere new, something that's fairly resilient, I like to have because I don't know what they're going to play. That was a terrible mistake, as I said in the again. But if you've been there once, you play something that you're comfortable with, and you just kill people and see what happens. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much. Enjoy your round. Was there one more question? Oh, sorry.
What is your opinion about in-guilds as a clan? Would you like it to be introduced like demons or werewolf clans in the Vampire game? Do you want it strictly vampire?
I definitely don't want any more clans of allies. My opinion on imbued is that Jeff Thompson has them in his list of clans, so therefore until that changes I will try and win with them. I don't like the fact they don't interact very well, personally, so I'd rather they were just normal allies. Okay, thanks very much. Enjoy rounds 2 and 3.